refused that and said we are not involved in this issue. I don't know why يعني start straight away take a position against Turkey. Even the Iraqi government know exactly that Turkey will not do that. But even يعني today I heard lots of Iraqi Sunni leader say that the Iran militia who attacked before 5 or 3 months the American consul in Erbil, all these people, all this militia, the same militia attacked the Duhok place yesterday. And why you are now say that Turkey did that? It is very, and it is not. I think it is a big play. Who is like who is do it? Who is control this issue? I think. America knows that exactly. Iran knows that. Even the Iraq government know what happened exactly, but they try to achieve something because the role of the Turkey, which declares that will start a new operation against the terrorist party in Syria against PKK, against PYD. And today we heard lots of uh, statement from a different European country which said if Turkey starts this operation against PYD or PKK, it is means that Daesh will come back. I don't know. They put the word between two terrorist party, or Daesh or PKK or PYD. Yani, they play like this issue is very clear to the world that what the West or what the America want exactly is what happened in the Hook. To stop this operation, to say to all the world that Turkey kill people, and to stop exactly the operation against the terrorist party PYD and PKK and Syria. I think America is plays the good role in the relations between يعني, the Iranian party, the Iranian militia, and USA. It is very clear in this time.
Yes, when they want to intervene, they create a terror group, or sometime Iran also did this. Assad people, they became like ISIS coordinators to legitimize the Russian and Iranian regime. I mean, Iranian regime, also Assad regime's cruelty against people. So terrorism is a good excuse for such interventions, and unfortunately, they use this propaganda. And as you said, everything was almost like was ready to do a big propaganda against Turkey. You know, the statements, the protesters. Yeah, I mean, we have similar issues before, and nobody, you know, even like half of this reaction didn't come. And we know also pro-Iranians trying to provoke even pressure on those who doesn't condemn Turkey. They put pressure on them. Why you don't do this and all that. And as you know, Iran attacked Erbil airport and even admit that, attack one of the businessman's house, and from with missiles from all the way from inside Iran, and they admit that. And there are also many things that there are many militias also acting independently, of course with some direction, but at the end they blame Turkey for this. We have Dr. Ibada Tamer. Welcome, Dr. Ibada. Please go ahead if you hear us. And the mic, please.
If you open the mic, open the mic, please.
Open the microphone, please. Looks like we have either connection problem or microphone problem. Please open the mic. We cannot hear you, Dr. Ibada. Anyway, we are, if you open the mic, we'll give him the microphone, the floor. But as I said, the main problem in the region, of course, the big powers, they want dependent countries, weak countries in the region. Like they don't want strong Turkey, they don't want strong Egypt or strong Saudi Arabia. Also, they don't want these countries come together to solve their own problems. That's another issue. We always suggest that these countries, regional countries, come together and seek solutions, look for solutions between themselves. If we don't solve our problems together, nobody will help us. Others, they say they are going to helping, but they are going to make more problems, add more problems on the current problems. So it's better. I think the last debate with maybe just a small comment on the Biden visit. Biden visit did not bring much because Biden didn't also offer anything new to Arabs. Of course, they bring a lot of several countries together just to show it's a big meeting, but nothing concrete came out. In Tehran also, it's all of course different mentality, different logic, but we see that at least this grain deal came out of Turkish, Russian, Iranian meeting in Tehran. But of course, these meetings are different and with different logics. It looks like Saudi Arabia didn't want to facilitate for Biden because he helped or he was pro-Iran, pro-Houthis, and also trying to revive the nuclear deal with Iran, and Saudis are not happy about that. They were more happy with Trump, and looks like they don't want to help the oil prices. They don't want to help Biden with the oil prices. I think economy is hitting them very badly in America, and they have an election this fall, so Biden might lose the elections. Already old and not doing much, but this looks like Saudis are going to play. Of course, these high oil prices are affecting the world overall, everybody, and is another issue like the food prices, gas prices, and oil prices are serious issues for everybody around the world. So we'll see. But looks like we are going through a bumpy road, they say. It's like a rocky road full of rocks and holes. All this is not easy. Of course, we are living in a global era. We are living in a very dynamic era. Everything you do, you can benefit from it quickly, or you can, in this critical period, you have more opportunities, also more risks, more threats. So depends on the leadership, and looks like Erdogan showed real leadership recently with helping the whole world with the food prices. So looks like if nobody wants to add anything, looks like we are coming to an end. Dr. Tarek, anything to add at the end?
No, that's what we were talking about the visit of Biden to Saudi Arabia and the summit which happened there between him and the Arabic Gulf leaders and Iraqi and Jordans and the Egyptian leader. And you asked me before in the first when we start these rooms or this space about Lebanon and what is the ramifications of the summit in Lebanon and even the summit in Tehran. Actually, is Qatar Amir Sheikh Tamim speak in Jeddah about Lebanon and about Iraq when he talk clearly that we can't build a country like he said exactly like Lebanon and Iraq, and there's a pressure of militia, or he said exactly that the militia can't build a countries like Syria, like Iraq and Lebanon, and it's very important work. Sorry, very important word from him that the situation in Iraq and Lebanon are the same, where the militia, especially the Iranian militia, Hezbollah in Lebanon and the other militias, Iranian militias in Iraq, which يعني which take everything, which kills people, kidnaps uh, people, kidnapping the country, and um, that's it. The situation now in Iraq and in Lebanon, and I think this summit, which happened in Tehran, also negotiate the Lebanese situation. Especially, we are now after 100 days. There is a new election for a new president in Lebanon, and always Lebanon have problems in the president's election because not the parliament member who elect the president. It is who elect is the overseas power like Iran and Saudi, and who play and USA who play the big role to nominate our new president. So we wish that the deal which happened today will take will bring which we will wish the deal which happened today bring lots of happiness to our countries in Middle East and around the world, in Africa and everywhere, and to Lebanon and to Syria. And we wish one day that our countries like Lebanon, like Syria, like Iraq, be an independent country without intervention, without militias, under the law of under the constitution, and under the law of freedom, without uh, without militias, and without kidnapping, and without dangers. That's it. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you. Just last point. This deal, Ukraine deal, will allow Russia to export its own fertilizers. That's an important point because with fertilizers, of course, is an important SMIDA in Arabic, is an important aspect because it is a major part of production and efficiency. If you don't put fertilizers, for example, you get half the yield. You don't get enough yield. If you're going to get 2 kilos without fertilizer, you get 1 kilo of grains. So Russia now will be able to export fertilizers. Also, I know from Turkish farmers also, it's causing them more with expensive fertilizers. Also you get expensive food. So if fertilizers come to the market very easily, now you have cheaper fertilizers, and also means you get cheaper food and more plenty of food. That's another aspect. This will be exempt from European and American sanctions. Also, Russia insisted on that. If they want to sell Ukrainian grains, they want to also sell Russian fertilizers as a serious portion of the cost for any grain production or food production. And as I said, they can come together to stretch a good route for these ship movements, as well as they can, they can warn each other. But Russia wants them free of weapons, and they don't want these ships carry any weapons against Russia. And as we mentioned, both sides are going to win with this, and Turkey made a big effort to alleviate or to bring them to an agreement, especially if they are fighting. Sometime they just keep fighting, and if no mediation, there will be no understanding, no agreement. Now Turkey managed that, and it's going to be a useful outcome for everybody. And at the same time, if you want to repeat, Russia and the West are in a big fight. Of course, the poverty in Africa are affecting everybody, but also putting pressure on Russia. Russia does not want to lose Africa and the Middle East, also Arab countries. They have a serious food security issue, shortage of water. Everybody has problem of shortage in water, but Arab world, of course, with drought, etc. And especially those who are importing most of their grains from outside, like Egypt and other countries, will be a little bit relaxed. And of course, it's going to help Turkey and other countries around the world. So wish the best.
I saw in the Dr. Professor Ahmed, Dr. Abdel Nasser sent me in privately that he couldn't take the mic. I said to him, please, if you heard us, take the mic again. Maybe he has a problem in the net. And I see our friend Muhammad Jelik and my friend Saida Zahidova. If you wish to talk, Saida she is journalist, and our friend Muhammad. Maybe we can take their opinion and listen to him before you all finish this space.
Yes, if they ask the mic, we will accept them.
Dr. Abada, here's a problem. Dr. Abada, if you can please request the mic again.
Yes, I send them invitation one more time.
There is a problem in the net, I think, or there is lots of problem in this space, I think. Whatever, it's your decision. Saida is with us now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Saida, yes, welcome.
Thank you very much. I just joined like very late. I was in the meeting today. Everything went really well. It was a bit complicated in the beginning because, like I was following this news for a while, and some of the parties just canceled the meeting by writing, and some of them like saying, oh, okay, it's going to happen on Friday, or maybe it will be delayed on Saturday, but hopefully and gratefully that happened today. I was there from the beginning. It is actually this sign, the agreement is affecting so millions of people around the world, like millions of people around the world in the countries. So it is affecting everyone actually, because the countries are talking about the grain shortages for a while. And due to the war between Russia and Ukraine, it was a bit like, because Russia is controlling the ports of Ukraine, main Odessa and also Snake Island. It was difficult for the grain, like the ships, to come to, like, to go to the world international market. So then because of the war, Ukraine was asking ceasefire and they want their lands back from Russia, which is occupied by Russian military. And we know that Russia and Ukraine are the biggest grain supplier. So it will obviously affect Asia, will affect the African continent, also European continent a lot. There's also energy crisis in Europe as well. So so like at least it's signed, but the question here is how this process will work. I mean, they signed the contract, but is it going to happen? Some of parties saying that it will happen in a couple of days' time. Some of them is saying that Ukraine will be ready in 10 days' time. Turkish side is saying that we can start as soon as possible. But Turkey is doing a great job here, bringing all the parties together to Istanbul, especially in this very hard time. Erdogan was really trying his best to bring speaking with the president of Russia and Ukraine and bringing the Shoigu to the Istanbul. It was a big deal, but hopefully let's see what will happen afterwards. Today we signed a contract. This is great. Everything perfectly worked. But is Turkey taking too much responsibility? How Turkey will face the consequences? So we will see it. That is what I can say, actually, not more.
Thank you, Mr. Said. I have a question also. My impression is that with, even the uncertainty until the last minute, with the participation of some delegations and all this, reminds me that maybe there was even kind of a undecision or kind of disagreement on certain terms or more demands from other sides, different sides. So the bargain continued until the last second. Do you think so or not?
The bargain, you mean? But I mean, I didn't get your
bargain or negotiations. There was maybe different conditions. Everybody demanding something. I mean the Russian and Ukrainian sides. So this continued until the last minute.
I mean, to be honest, I was receiving some news. I was speaking with the foreign ministry team from Russia and also from Ukraine. From Ukraine, they were a bit uncertain and they want to feel secure with this agreement because recently they are with war with Russia. So they need to make sure that all the ships can leave the port and ships can come to the port of Ukraine safely, with the cleaning the sea from mining. They have to make sure that the weapon is not carried in ships as well. So many agreements like that. They have to make sure that none of the parties will attack each other. So Ukraine side was a little bit insecure, and obviously there were so many terror information, like so many information from everywhere. And when I was speaking with the Russian side, they were happy with the agreement because Russia also wants to export the grain and food from the countries to the international market. Obviously, this is a win-win situation. I mean, not only Ukraine is winning, but Russia is also winning. Turkey is winning. It is win-win situation for European Union and African continent as well. But there are so many information because Russia wants to get what he wants, and Ukraine wants to get their lands, and because the port are the Ukrainian land, but Russia is blocking it. It seems in the news. That is why it was until today, this morning, we didn't know that agreement will be signed because Russian defense minister didn't want to sit with the Ukrainian parties on the same table. And we got the news that they didn't want to stay in the same room. But at the end, they were staying in the same room, not in the same table, but they were signing the same contract anyway. It doesn't matter if they're sitting in the same table or not, but they are still signing the same contract. So it was great to see both of them attending and signing the ceremony in Istanbul. Obviously, it didn't happen at the same table, but still, it's a win-win situation for all parties.
Yes, thank you very much. We have Mehmet Çelik, also a journalist from Daily Sabah. Mehmet Bey, hoş geldiniz. Welcome.
Hi, good evening to everybody.
Good evening. How you interpret today's achievement in a way, even the hard-fought one? And how was your impressions and comments?
Thank you, first of all, Professor Ahmed. And I'm not sure if I'll be repeating some of the comments maybe made previously, but just to add a few points to what Saida said. First of all, I think it's important that we should highlight that when diplomacy is at work, even the most difficult situation can be solved. Now, there are two parties that are in hard fighting on the ground against each other, and there's an invasion in one of the sides, and there's literally a war. So the fact that these two parties have been brought together on the same table, I think it's a huge success that needs to be highlighted on the part of diplomacy. So, and also we should add, of course, the fact that President Erdogan has been a very strong facilitator in these negotiations, and a huge success has been achieved with regards to the grain situation. Now, previously, of course, there were Antalya and Istanbul summits. Unfortunately, they weren't as successful as they were intended to be. But with regards to the new deal, I think the fact that there is an agreement that both sides have signed and agreed upon, it's a huge success. Now, similar to what Saida said, whether or not this will be implemented, when this will be implemented, how effective the implementation will be, it's something that, of course, time will show. There is a sense of mistrust from both sides. But the fact that now there is an agreement that has been signed, it's a huge step that will affect not just Ukrainian and the Russian side, but it's a success that will have a positive impact on the lives of many from Europe to all the way to Africa. So this is not an issue between Ukraine and Russia solely. It's an issue that was affecting the lives of millions elsewhere. So, in that sense, without going into the technicalities of the deal and how it will be implemented, I think we should realize that when diplomacy is given chance, when efforts are put into work with regards to diplomacy, it can be effective. And I think one of the things that Turkey has achieved, and the West has been, West's inability to do it, has prolonged the war, is diplomacy. The fact that Turkey has been able to meet both sides and try to go between both sides and do a shuttle diplomacy between both sides, where the West has not been eager to do this, at least has not been firmly willing to do this. It shows that whether you want to prolong the war or whether you want to exert all you have at hand to end the war and establish some sort of peace, or at least take some steps towards the peace. I think the grain deal is a strong step towards peace, or towards at least achieving some sort of steps towards this peaceful platform, or a platform for peace. Now, it's not going to be easy. The Russian side is not going to take any steps back with regards to the hard war on the ground. But at the same time, we know that the war is not coming to an end if it keeps going like this. So each little step towards peace, I think it's very important that we highlight it, and I think this grain deal was part of that. And President Erdogan's role in this step should definitely be highlighted. And I read it on Twitter somewhere. Someone had termed it as extraordinary diplomacy, and I think it was very rightly to term it as that. But I'm not sure if I am as positive when it comes to how this will be implemented. It's something that time will show. These are just some of the words I wanted to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mehmet. And as we always say, building is a lot more difficult than destroying. I mean, we have destructive forces all over the world, and it's easy. But to build something, even out of chaos or from conflicting sides that even don't want to come to the same room. It is kind of a hard accomplishment. Yes.
There's that saying, give peace a chance. I think we should maybe slightly revise it and say, give diplomacy a chance. And I think if the Western powers were able to come to that understanding and give diplomacy a chance, I think things could have shaped slightly differently. And the fact that President Erdogan is able to somewhat achieve that shows that, when you give diplomacy a chance, you can achieve some results.
Yes, definitely. We have to give dialogue and diplomacy a chance. But unfortunately now, the war lobbies and factors are at play, and this little bit reduces our hopes for a peaceful solution. We have Ustaza Magda Mahfoud from Paris. Welcome, and please go ahead. The mic is yours.
Thanks, Professor Ahmed, to have me. It's really very difficult to say now or to be sure now, as Mr. Muhammad mentioned, that these deals was going on. Unfortunately, Russia and the USA, even the Union European, have a lot of difficult now, and they go to far from and very far from the reality of the war. And so I don't think so that this deal was go on easy. But no one can deny the role of Turkey, diplomatic Turkey. And I already say that many times. Actually, I think that this role, no one rather than Turkey has has a greater opportunity than other to play this role. Turkey has this role. Other countries is so difficult. Even France, they try to Paris. They try to do the mediations because Paris have now economic crisis. There is the ability of buying for French is unfortunately it is decreased. So I hope that's going on, but I don't have really a lot of spare in this point. But I want to ask you the same questions that the Ukrainian journalist asked Erdogan during the press conference in Istanbul. This role that Turkey will play, or that the mediation role of Turkey in this deal, it's really in the two sides with Ukraine and Russia, or as this journalist mentioned, that Turkey takes the grain of Ukraine and do this deal herself. Can you answer me? I hope you understand me. My English is not so good like you, as you know, long time in France.
Yes, tu parles français يبدو يعني looks like better, but it's okay. I got your point. Of course, I am not an expert. I don't know the details. Turkey, in terms of consumption, is self-sufficient. Doesn't buy grains for their own food. But Turkish food industry is also very strong. They import grains, and they use like cookies and biscuits, all different food or grain-related, wheat-related food products, and sell it around the world. So the industry imports, our Turkish industry, food industry imports a lot of grains from outside to Ukraine or Russia, and that's one thing. Secondly, I think Turkey is helping others, to have Ukraine to export their own food. And as we mentioned before, maybe
without the involving of Russia, Dr. Professor Ahmed?
I think they are like
because the last time he mentioned that Russia stole the grain of Ukraine, and unfortunately Istanbul after that sells this grain. Is right, or there is
no
a lot of propaganda in this?
It's a lot of propaganda on this. Russia, Turkey said, Russia is stealing because they are confiscating. Like there are storages in the eastern also areas. There are some ports, Russia, Ukrainian ports, and some islands. Russia is dominating and controlling. So put pressure on Russia. I think maybe Erdogan said this, but overall, Turkey, I mean, it's their free market. Turkey is not gonna get something free out of this. But the more critical part is, as I said, now the new grains are already produced. So if you cannot empty or sell or export these grains that are already stored or in the storages, the ones in the fields are gonna rotten, are gonna be destroyed by weather, by rain, and all this. I also know some agriculture myself. It's you need 1 month or so to harvest these. If you cannot empty the storage, of course, they are in the war situation. That's another critical issue. Many farmers probably they left their crops in the field and they run for their life. So even you have empty storages, you cannot find enough farmers to take care of to collect these or harvest their grains. So it is a challenge, but the main challenge is to export and to empty and get some revenue for these. And of course, they are running for their life or they are fighting for their lives. So Ukrainians, I think, maybe if 100% if you think of the wheat and barley and all these grains produced today, maybe they could harvest only maybe 70-80%. A lot of grains also will be rotten in the fields. So this is a big challenge. I gave microphone to Dr. Ebade, but he fell off.
Before, can I ask
yes,
you?
Yes, I have a question for you also.
I have a question for you before you ask me,
yes.
please. I want to ask you, as you know that Egypt in hard need, in difficult problem in Egypt for the monk of grain. Do you think that this mediation of Turkey with the grain of Ukraine will help the deal of Egypt to go on, or there is no effect on your opinion?
The relation between Turkey and Egypt, you mean?
Yes, the deal, the reconciliations between Egypt and Turkey. It will going on because Turkey, if Turkey will help Egypt to have the grain of Ukraine, there is a great.
It can facilitate, but as you know, the Egyptians are strong bargainers, so they like to fisal, and they call it even. It's going to take a long time to come to an agreement, but I think it's progressing in the right direction. It's going to help Egypt to build some confidence with Turkey, and as I said, regional countries should cooperate, should come to understanding. Others will not solve our problems, but Egypt will definitely benefit from this deal. My question to you, as a Magda, as in the Egyptian accent, and how the Europeans, France, we have problems in Italy, we have, Johnson get out, collapse in the government in the UK. Now we have, how France was doing or is doing before, and I think they were struggling before that with Corona and all this. Now, how is the inflation and all this in France?
I think it's so clear as you see Macron when he speak with Joe Biden. about the price of oil. This is the most important thing for the France now. The price of oil petrol source is the most important. Otherwise, the French country, I think they have a lot other resource for the grains, for other for the other alimentations needs. This is my opinion. The most important thing, as you know, also from the start of from the beginning of the crisis, the war between Ukraine and Russia, that France tried to do the mediation, that Turkey are successful to do it now. But you know, the elections in France, and after that Macron lost his absolute in the parliament.
He secured the presidency, but he lost the parliament.
Yes, he didn't lost, but the absolute majority. He has not the majority. Yes, he hasn't the majority now. This is the problem. So on France we have the crisis, but not like the other European country, not like Italy or Spain. It's not the same. It's just for the petrol, and it's not so serious like in French and Germany, as you know. This is this. I can say now why the Union European and the British government choose to stop use the oil of Russia at the end of this year, because they try to find out another countries that given them like Qatar or Iran now. As you know, Egypt also now it's one of the choice. So this can.
Yes, but you need a pipeline or you need the LNG to produce all this. It's gonna take time. It's not easy.
This is what Mr. Macron say, Mr. Biden, in the videos that you saw when he was speaking. He thinks that there is no camera takes this, but he takes this. Actually, I think France will find out, but it will take time. And this time, unfortunately, after also the crisis of Corona, that make a lot of damage in the economy of the France. Also, it will be difficult for the French and the government to go out without damage. Real damage. I think it's very, very difficult here in France.
Yes, khairan, inshallah. We have, thank you, Ustaz Magda. We have Muhammad Omar from Somalia. Ustaz Muhammad, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm more interested what the lesson learned from this crisis, and how can we adjust our long-term goals, and how can we shorten our supply chain? Those are my questions, please.
I think when it's gonna start, maybe with the long bargain again. The bargaining, I think, continuing between both sides, even though they agreed on the general framework. But I think it's gonna be still the market price, and there are some ships waiting, already loaded, already kind of paid. So the earliest these ships will leave the ports and go to different countries. For example, after the war started, Turkey needed some oil, cooking oil, and they imported from Russia, but Russia also insisted that Turkey should not. It was on still in the cold weather, so we have mostly kind of greenhouse tomatoes and vegetables. So of course Russia cannot produce most of them, and they were exporting. But we had also an inflation or high food prices. So Turkey tried to limit exports to help the local consumption or ease the prices. But Russia said you need cooking oil, we need tomatoes and peppers or whatever needed for the kitchen, and so they made a deal in the early days of. So we get cooking oil. They also continued the exports of these vegetables. Now, of course, summertime and it's plenty of everything is produced with vegetables and fruit, etc. So the supply chain, I think, will be maybe the first ships will be already paid and have the destination, but this marketing will continue, and Turkey will facilitate. Normally, there is a queue in the Suez Canal, also queue waiting on the Bosphorus, because it is a narrow bridge and it is also curved, not very straight, and there are also undercurrents, upper currents under the Bosphorus, making some danger to the ships coming and going in both directions. But overall, I think Turkey will give priority to these food carrying ships to make it easy for other countries. So that's my answer. Of course, I am not the expert on this. We are just brainstorming here, and of course, making. If anybody wants to add something at the end, maybe, Ustaz Suleiman, please go ahead. Suleiman Hashi.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed. I'm really grateful to participate in this great discussion about the food security in all the global. We have been facing this crisis maybe the last 6 months almost. So I saw the statement that they have released all the sides, and it very much looks like that Turkey's leverage on this issue of food crisis on the global, putting the Turkey again the leadership of when it comes to the significant or the dynamics on the front of this great crisis. So my question will direct it to Maqtada, and sorry if I misspell your name. My question is, what's the I saw the statement released by the Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, and he has been saying repeatedly that this package would both restore the Ukrainian grain exports while easing the Russian grain and the fertilizers shipments, despite the tough, Western sanctions on Moscow. So my question is, who is responsible to this? To this agreement to fulfill, or who is the one handling the things will pursued as agreed? What's the leverage that Turkey will gain? If even that question can answer them, Professor Ahmed, I will appreciate that. So that's my question.
Yes, Ustaza Magda, you want to add before?
Actually, I want to listen to you before, because I have some point I want to ask you.
Can I speak then? Maybe I can answer the question.
Go ahead, Saida, please.
Yeah,
Of course,
today, like we were talking in the meeting, that there are 3 ports in Ukraine. For example, the Odessa and Chernomorsk and Uzings. All the grains are coming out from 3 ports of Ukraine. So United Nations official actually said that these grains will be will be leaving the ports safely. Not only Ukrainian grains, but there are Russian grains from the Russian ports that has to leave from Black Sea and through the Bosphorus, because there is an important point here. Russia is controlling half of the Black Sea here, because Russia is controlling the ports of Ukraine. So Russia also have a 50-50 says in this point, because of the sanctions, because of Turkey also controlling the like most of the half of the sea, and Turkey is a member of NATO. Turkey has to do things accordingly. Turkey is playing a meditating role here, listening to Russia and listening to Europe, but Russian vessels and ships cannot go through from the Black Sea. So it's also a problem for Russia, not for Ukraine. But in the in these 3 ports of Ukraine and also for the Snake Island, it's said that there will be a joint control center which will be settled in Istanbul, and which will be scheduled and monitor shipments which are not carrying weapons, which can pass from the sea of the mining sea, and it also said that Ukrainian pilots will guide the ships alongside the safe channels in its territory waters. So there are things are not clear in the agreement, but there are things also clear. So we don't know when the shipments will start, how the shipments will start. According to the United Nations officials, they say that it will start in a couple of days. But according to some of the other reporters, they are saying that it will take 3 weeks. Ukraine saying it's going to take 10 days. Who to trust? How are we going to start the shipments? I mean, there are also important questions here about the, who is securing, what's the called, insurance companies. How they will trust, there won't be any bombing or attacking to each other. Turkey will obviously have a big responsibility here, and also United Nations, that they need to make sure that all these insurance companies will be safe, all these shipments are safe, the ships are not carrying weapons. If they cross the Bosphorus, they need to make sure that Turkey's zones are safe. So many questions not answered. We know that there's a deal, but we didn't see the whole deal. This is also kind of worrying me. So we will see. I hope that I answered the question.
Yes, I think you answered better than me. So, Dr. Tarek. Dr. Tarek, you want to add?
No, thank you very much. Just I'm listening. Thank you.
Okay. And one challenge, of course, if we consider now lack of exports, it is like zero. So anything, either hard or health or anything, even like delayed export will be like better than zero. So if it is 1 or health or 2, so it is started. I think there is now a chance that it's gonna go forward, and everybody will benefit from it. Ustaz Muhammad, you raised your hand. I think this time you're gonna answer rather than question.
Yeah, I have a question actually.
No, I think you have an answer.
No, I don't have, because I just worry about the dry container price or transportation and the quality concerns I have. So did UN and partners agree on quality and the prices that for the end consumers, for Africans? Because the inflation is very high. We Somali diaspora, we are sending money home, and is there any agreement made to ensure the quality and to make sure that the prices are not sky high when the grains arrive at the consumer market? Thank you.
Thank you, Ustaz Muhammad. My question was to you related to, there is a drought in Somalia, and other than these food prices going, how this kind of mixing with drought and also some fighting terror groups and all this in Somalia? Just give us a brief picture.
We have an expert on this space. Suleiman can explain it much better than I. So, Sulaiman.
Yes, Mr. Sulaiman, please go ahead then.
What was the question again? I was a little bit
Question with there is a drought, there is this food issue, and how Somalian picture, is it gloomy or grim? How you see it? We have Qasim Ilari also from Washington. If you want to take the mic, also we want to give him a voice, how things looks from America also. Thanks. Go ahead, Mr. Sulaiman.
Thank you, Ahmed. Ahmed, also all those the panelists. The Somalia drought now is getting worse the day after day. And we have the lack of the strategy when it comes to compete and come with a new concept to or plan future. So I think the Somalia, means the drought plus inflation plus the global crisis plus. So that's the issue, the main issue. The challenge the Somalis now facing is not only the food security, but it's also the lack of water and the issues every day and day after day is getting worse and worse. What we are, witnessing is that the Somalia now have the so-called the envoy of droughts, and appointed by the president, and he's the one who is in charge when it comes to promote and collect, the reliefs and aid from the donors, including the Turkey. Turkey was the main supporter of Somali government and the Somali people as well. In terms of humanitarians, in terms of the scholarships and the schooling and
diplomatic awareness also was very critical.
Indeed, diplomatic military training and training the military security force. So still things in Somalia now looks like the unprecedented and the challenge ahead. And the president is still his middle of his tour, going around in the central and the east and the east and Horn of Africa mainly, and sometimes Middle East. Overall, Somalia needs the help at this point, and also Somalia expecting to get at least the benefit this agreement today, through the mediation of the Turkish government and to come up in the new concept of that releasing the grain from Ukraine and Russia. I think this will be at least the good hope for Somalis who are facing the worst drought and humanitarian crisis at the moment. That will my comment on that issue. Addition, I would like to know more about there is everything we are handling now. It must be in political views, or there's a side or angle that you can check when it comes to the terms of the political leverage. I believe that Turkey now is becoming the more than a regional power, and is becoming the international, the power, or playing the major roles to the global crisis. That could be something, we all be grateful and, to be proud as a ummah, and also as, human being and the friends of Turkey government. I really appreciate your comment on how the Turkey now is managing the things that's getting worse. So when there's a war, there must be the peace. So I would like this will be the first sign that making some reduction and relief the pain that all the global going through because of the food crisis and for food insecurity. So thank you. That would be my comment on it.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Sulaiman. We are in the same boat. We are brothers and sisters. We live in the same neighborhood, and in the global period also, everything is affecting everybody, and we have a responsibility toward each other. And we are glad that Somalia is picking up and coming together. But of course, these are hard times, that presents hardships, but also opportunities in this crisis period. If there is a good leadership, you can achieve a lot. It's like it's like a business. There are more risks, but there are maybe the margins for profit are higher than normal. So in either case, if we appreciate Somalia is also building its democracy and it's recovering, and we know they are also very hardworking and wise people. They have now, of course, this war. Before Syria, Somalia was similar to Syria. A lot of Somalians spread around the world, and now they have a very active diaspora, very young and productive diaspora, also helping back home. Wish the best, and for all other countries also. If you want to add, Mr. Dr. Tarek and other speakers, Ustaz Ms. Majda, Ms. Saida, and Muhammad, please also go ahead. Final words, please.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed, about for this space, and we wish this deal go good for all the world, and we are waiting the result, and I wish the result will be okay for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and Saida and.
I want to thank you, Dr. Ahmed, but we didn't speak about the movement of the USA and the visits that Biden do it. It have an effect in this deal, or Turkey will succeed to do this mediation, even with the pressure of the USA diplomatic on Europe and Arabic country.
They are involved. I think the Americans are involved to make Russia exempt from some of the sanctions with Europeans. So they are involved in this. That's why we have the UN, and Arab countries will benefit from it. But I don't think they played any role in the Biden's visit to the Middle East. This is a separate issue, and I think Biden didn't get anything from this. Very small symbolic things, but in practice, Saudi Arabia, another issue we mentioned, of course, was the oil prices. Saudi Arabia did not facilitate for Biden or the general for world oil market, so we'll be having expensive oil overall all over the world because of the Saudi's role in OPEC, and I think they don't want to make it easy for Biden for the midterm elections. But Arab world needs a lot of food because of the barren and desert-like environments they have, and now they have, especially Egypt and other countries will benefit from this deal, and wish the best. We, of course, Middle East also is suffering from a lot of crises, civil wars, military coups, and poverty, and migration, all these, also terror. Wish the best. We should bring our hands together, try to solve our problems together. And this was a kind of a free debate, not institutional. We decided to open it with Dr. Tarek, and I hope it was useful, and sometime we also do more structured discussion with experts on the Middle East. But this was a more kind of a casual debate, but I think it was useful, and I thank especially the speakers for their contribution, also for the listeners for their patience and for guiding us. Thank you very much. We'll be opening these spaces as much as needed in the near future. Thank you. Saida, do you have anything to add to it?
I have a couple of sentences to add.
Sure, go ahead, please.
Actually, this is a really significant deal for global food suppliers, but also the first major agreement between two sides, between Ukraine and Russia, after Russia launched a war on Ukraine on February 24. I hope this is the turning point the peace agreement in the future. And I hope Russia and Ukraine will sit in the same table in the future and for a peace deal. And obviously, this peace deal means I agree that it's Ukraine has to get their lands back. That's how I call the peace. But hopefully, this turning point will bring a peace to the world.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mehmet, you want to add anything?
Yes, I want to add something actually not related specifically to this topic, but I just want to say thank you. You facilitate these spaces often, and I think you should do it more often, particularly in English. You sometimes do them in Arabic and sometimes in Turkish. Actually, used to do more, but now lately I haven't seen many. So it would be great, I think.
I want to leave it English to you, and we join the English rooms with you.
I think we need someone to lead us, and it helps a lot for the international audience. So I want to say thank you for facilitating them, and hopefully we will have more of these discussions.
Yes, thanks for your kind comments. And any final words, if there is any? We want to close it right now. And thanks again for the listeners and the speakers. Let's meet another one in the near future.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I wish that we discuss also good things, not always crisis. But tonight was a good note. I am optimistic on the food deal, but not optimistic very much on the ending the Ukraine war between because these are the super power wars and takes a long time now. I think we are still not even in the middle. We are in the start of this war. Thanks again, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you very much. Use the time also for to follow each other if you are not following. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Professor Ahmed, to allow me to speak English today. Thank you so much.
Tu parles français un peu, c'est bien, c'est bien.
Non, je parle français. Je parle très bien français actuellement maintenant. Ça fait 18 ans que je vis ici en France.
C'est bien, enchanté. But